What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy, Vanney. Today in the studio with not only my boy, Dan, because he's here almost all the time, but we've also got the one, the only, the specialist of them all, East. East, what's going on?
How's it going? Thank you very much for having me. How to say this? I said this before the show, but I should probably say it now. I tell people that I'm really easy to get in touch with, and I want to say thank you to Vanney because I made it painfully difficult, even though that was true.
It wasn't that bad.
This has been like maybe a month in the making, I think it was, since you reached out to me.
Something like that, yep.
Yeah. I'll reply. I'm not the fastest replier, but I'll get there.
I mean, we appreciate it.
We've had people that ignore us, so it's all right.
Not throwing any shade.
No.
But, you know.
Throw some shade.
Have reached out to people who probably look at it. They're like, who are these guys? So we appreciate it. We appreciate it. For real.
Yeah, for sure.
So East said he is getting off of a kind of like flu-like symptom due to, was it the Evo? Not Evo. Was it Evo Cup?
Evo. Yes, I went to Evo Japan, which is a really big fighting game tournament, and the Evo specifically is notorious for whenever you go to this huge like event, you just get the flu. We call it the Ebola virus, and I'm definitely I definitely caught it this year. I should have worn a mask. Crazy. Look at me.
Look at me now, reveling in my own decisions.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was mandatory and we hated it, and now we're like, damn, we kind of need them now sometimes.
All right, so today it's all about East, but before we get into that topic, we're going to do the thing that we always do, and that's going to be locals. Did I go to locals this week, then?
Yes, sir.
I don't remember. All right, I went to locals this week.
Oh my god!
It feels like it was so long ago. I honestly don't remember.
You played.
I don't know what I played.
I don't know what you played.
I played Blue.
Oh, your bullshit you made.
I played my nice jank. I was really feeling the jank going into this locals. So about an hour before, I built Digimon Hexablau source strip control because it was called Hexablau Cope, and Dan was like, but you only played at 2. So then I was like, all right.
East, how can you name a deck as the main monster, but it's not the main monster is not even at a playset of it? I was like, you can't call it Hexablau if it's only at 2.
It's just not good enough.
It's not good.
Digimon is like really good. But, it's Hexablau Cope,
You had, I was all on board. You Digimon, yeah. And then you Hexablau, yeah. And then you hit me with control. I was like, oh, no, never mind.
I mean, it just did what it did. I mean, it just naturally stuns, right? Because it's like you strip all the sources and then they just so happen to get stunned. So it is technically controlled.
Yo, Dianamon's really... I already knew it was an insanely good card, especially very generic, but it's even better than I thought it was because as long as you attack, you can stun anything without any source, which is whoa. It's not even when you strip a source, stun your opponent's Digimon, or that's just the way Digivolving. No, you just get to stun every turn. And it's oh, cool. So if your opponent can't tuck source or can't raise, well, I guess we'll just keep, stunning you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of folks are really surprised. I had some friends in Singapore I tried out Grace Nova, and it's way better than I thought it was, actually.
Yeah.
I'm it's a pretty good deck for an EX set.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great deck. I can't wait to actually try to play. I didn't want to play it because I didn't want to play it without the Galgamon and the Agumon.
Makes sense.
This is what I hate about being over in our meta.
For a deck that's everybody's it's trash, but the amount of ways it can just gain memory and just do so much in one turn sometimes. It's I'll be playing against it because we have someone in our locals that's an avid Galaxy player, and he swears by the deck. And every time I play against it, I may not lose, but every time I'm playing, I'm just why are you still
fighting for your life?
Yeah. It's goes to game 3. I'm out here, trying to live and stuff. And he just all right, I'm gonna go into, the 4 and then bounce the 4 back, gain 2 memory, go to another 4, keep searching, and then like it just spirals. And I'm just like, why is this better than I think it is? And it really is.
Just die already.
Yeah, right. Like, can I just destroy that thing? Can I please just kill the line? And then Grace Nova comes like, oh, never mind. I regret that decision. I'm sorry. Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. Yeah, it's what I hate being in over and R meta, because I'm like, I really want to play that deck, but knowing that we're getting 2 cards that make that deck infinitely better makes me not want to play that deck until we have those 2 cards. Yeah, that's what it is right now. I'm just like, I'll wait. I can wait. So that's where I'm at. That's what we played. Dianamon, Hexblow, Source Strip, blah, blah, blah. I almost won a game 1 against Shine. But, this is what you get for building a deck right before locals. Because sometimes you win the gamble building a deck right before a tournament, and sometimes you lose the gamble building a deck right before the tournament. This weekend we lost the gamble because I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like, "What's the right play? How do I which card should I go with?" I had like Snow Agumons and no Ice Armor Snow Agumon, not yet. Ice Armor soon. All of those shenanigans, it was like a combination of EX3 and whatever. I guess that Snow Agumon is from EX3. The new stuff from BT 14, I guess, with the
you don't know Otamamon and Gekkomon.
Yes, yeah, Otamamon and Gekkomon. Had like all of that stuff because I was trying to figure out like what worked and what was better. Definitely preferring like the Digievolution tax than the opponent's turn Source Strip, because they'll just delete you and then it doesn't even matter.
You die. Yeah, it's like, well,
I could have just had you taxed, So
like, evolve up, lose a source. Evolve up, lose a source. Yeah.
Yeah. So we learned. We went. I don't even know what I went. I think I
want to say
I had the buy
1 and 2 or 1 and 3.
That's what I feel like. I feel like my only win was the buy because I lost to something. And I don't know what else I lost to. All in all, if you couldn't tell, outside of the deck, it was a very unmemorable locals. So
yeah, clearly.
It was all a dream. And I only won the buy.
Won the buy. We take those wins.
That local did not exist in the brain.
It really didn't. So Dan, what did you do? I don't remember what you played.
I was 2-1. I was playing Dark Masters OmniZoo. I just love that deck. It's just so great. So it's a fun deck. I can't wait for BT16 for Vikemon and Grand Kawaga Aces. It's gonna be a fun time. And then when EX7, 6, whatever it is, comes out with Ultimate Chaosmon, just the DNA fuse, I'm gonna be on that deck for a while. But anyways,
+3 and piercing. Yeah. Okay.
It's dope. It's such an
let me
easy
just have like 4 keywords.
It's such an easy fit into that deck. It's like, oh, I have all the colors already. I'll just add Ultimate Chaos and add, 4 of the fusion cards. Call it a day, right? But
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Sec +3 is insane.
Yeah. Why are you doing 4 checks? 4 checks plus piercing too.
It's like Susanoo was like, all right, well, cool. Like we got to the end game. Like this is fine. I can understand this. But Ultimate Chaosmon, like this probably just comes down to like turn 3 sometimes with certain decks. It's just like, Sec
so
+3, 16k piercing. Oh.
Yeah, for sure. I don't remember what
that
I played.
plus the partition.
What I played against.
And if they partition, but if they build into it with aces, they get the on-play effects when the aces come down from the partition. You're just like, all right, you got it, bro. Next round.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you have
on aces in there, all right, yeah, that's cool. Whatever.
If you have like the Dark Masters to get their on-play effects too, to like pop or bounce or something, Digivolve too. When you think about it like that, yeah.
That is nasty. Yeah, pop like something that's not active or bottom deck.
Let's see what I played against.
I don't remember, honestly. You're not going to get me to remember. It was a dream.
Oh my God. Yeah, for real.
See, I'm not the only one.
I played Gino. I think he was playing Yellow Vaccine, right? Is that
Yeah, he was playing Vaccine. That was your longest game. That's where I was coaching
you were watching me.
You, and
you wasn't coaching me. You wasn't coaching me. Anyways.
I told you shouldn't have done 2 plays you did. That was
you
coaching.
said you played Gino?
Yeah, our boy Gino.
Yeah, our boy Gino.
Oh wow! Whenever I go back to the States in during the holidays, there's a local player in my hometown named Gino. Like, there's no way you live in like, South Carolina, right?
No.
Okay. Different Gino. All right, cool.
Yeah.
We're up in good old Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, Northeast.
And who else I played? Oh my god, I really don't remember this locals at all. I just remember getting. Oh,
Yeah.
I play Shine. I know
These
I played
traumatic
Shine.
experiences being blocked through reading time.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, it wasn't even that bad. The reason why I was so mad, I was annoyed because like, so I won round 1, whatever that was. I don't remember right now. Lost round 2 and then won round 3. The person that I beat in round 3 somehow got placed above me, and I got bumped down. I was like, "How's this even possible?" I was like, "All right, ban not BS." But yeah,
Dang.
it's a blur right now.
This man's still paying for Pokemon's crimes, even when he's not using the deck. That's crazy.
Oh, I used a Pokemon against someone. It was the most funniest thing because they were like, "I can't deal with this." All right, Mill 8, Mill 10, Mill 12 game.
Man, I hope you can kill this. Otherwise, you about to get real triggered.
Oh my god!
I wish you played the player that gets really upset whenever he gets milled out. That would have been a really funny experience.
No, the funniest is
It's always funny.
The funniest is like a game extends, and it just so happens sometimes I see both Mercy Mode and Apocalypse. It's like, all right, I'll put you 10 cards underneath, and then I'm gonna mill the 10 again later. Like, it just so happens to like it's just the way the game works sometimes, right? When you're playing that type of deck, you're playing a whole bunch of omnis. It's like, I need to pop things. Let's go Mercy Mode. Oh, I drew the 1 of Apocalypse. Well, I'll play for 3, and then I'll continue milling you at this point. So
hey
dumb.
man, here's some charity. All right, get rid of the other 10.
I gave you those cards back. It's not my fault. You couldn't have capitalized on getting those cards back. So now get milled out.
Yeah,
Merry
facts.
Christmas.
Oh
You
my
filthy
god.
scumbag.
Yeah, I'm dead. But yeah, how about you, East? You have a locals?
Yeah, so
Or did you go?
Or did you go?
Yeah, I did. Early, like on Monday. So I actually had during Evo, I had a friend from Korea who plays and organizes a lot of the Korean Digimon events in town, and so he took me out to the Korean events when I was there last October, I think it was, something like that. Basically, when it was cold, and in return, when he came here, I took him out to some of my locals, and I've been messing around with lots of different builds for Dex Dorogoramon, the black SOC cards. And I mixed up the build a little bit this week. There's a lot of different ways to build that deck. Like you can go like a Dorumon base, which is like the old like BT9 Dorumon from, the Alphamon days, which we tried to wipe from memory because of how toxic that card was. And the other way is to actually build it using Lugumon cards. And the Lugumon cards are interesting because they actually synergize with the deck pretty well, but the lower end is kind of strange because you don't have enough cards to fill out like the 12 level 3s. Right. So I tried that out, and my build wasn't great. Like I got a lot of brick hands. Like my friend like recollected after the games, he's like, "Man, like you cannot find level 4 or level 3 to save your life." And like, yeah, and so I lost all 3 of my games. I fought Blue Flare / Ancient Garurumon. So Ancient Garurumon right now is one of the hot decks in the game because it can bounce cards bounce your security to your hand whenever you have to draw a card, or it puts a card in either player's hand. And the rest of the deck is filled out with like Blue Flare stuff, which can freeze your board, and it's kind of like a trap deck where if you play more than 2 Digimon at a time, you just get like stunned, and then they can keep making attacks. So they combine the power of like the hybrids and Ancient Garurumon, who's already pretty quick with Blue Blue Flare, and it's dumb fast. So I lost that game because I couldn't find my pieces quickly enough. My second game was against what was it? I can't even remember. The game was so quick. Yeah, I don't even remember. I just remember not being able to find level 3 for most of the games. So I hard play a level 4 for 5 cost, the Dorgamon, and I just gave too much memory to work with, and I died. And then the last game was against Gallantmon, a deck that I actually like myself. And the guy was running Gallantmon, like the new BT17 one. So end of turn, with a tamer on the board, you can just like play a Guillamon, and they can just evolve for free to a level 6 from the trash. So they put the level 4 and level 5 under sources from trash, and they can just play level 6 from their hand. And that new Gallantmon gains 3000 DP and blocker, so he becomes 14k if he doesn't destroy anything. And then he has Blitz because of the Takuto Tamer, so he can immediately attack if the Digimon doesn't have like summoning sickness or whatever. And if he can't destroy something else whenever he attacks, he gains 3000 more for the turn, so it becomes a 17,000 DP Digimon for 0 memory. So and he can attack. And I just could not getting past that, and the fact that Dorogoromon kind of mills cards into the trash pretty quickly itself, not from the deck, but from the hand. So you kind of play into the Gallantmon Crimson mode Ace, where they hey, every 10 cards in your trash is another security that I'm just going to discard. And so, not being able to find a level 3, level 4 very quickly meant that I just got GG. So I took it back, and this week I'm kind of like retooling the deck to see what I can do to make it a little bit smoother for finding pieces.
Nice. So quick question. I'm interested to hear how you guys are on BT 17 now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Crimson Mode Ace versus the original Crimson Mode? Is there one that you would objectively say is better than the other?
I thought about this for a while when the cards first came out. So
about it and here, I guess.
Yeah, the regular Ace actually has I mean, the not having overflow is nice, but also having to evolve for like 6, I think it is kind of wild. So you're basically only using it to win the game offensively. The other Crimson Mode Ace, because it is an Ace card, it's good because you can pop something for like 15k or more, depending on what your source cards look like. Sometimes because you can like bump up the threshold for DP deletion, you can get to like 17,000, 18,000, which is actually a like relevant number right now in the game. The Ace, the Ace defensively is so good. And the only thing you're really trading in that case is the original Crimson mode discards 1 more security. So his threshold starts at 1, and then for every 10 it goes up.
Yeah.
Where the original Ace is, you start at 0, and then for every 10 you go up. So I don't know. I think the safety of the Ace is actually kind of nice right now. So I'd probably play the Ace over the regular one. In fact, the build that I have, my closet over here, has like 2 Aces and none of the original ones, which is kind of wild because that's just an SR replacing the secret rare.
Yeah, that's wild to think about. That card's also old now, though. Like in Japan, that's what, like 2.5? Like 2.5 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been thinking about this recently, and that is, I don't know about you guys, but I think of my local card shop more as like a bank. And whenever I don't want to hold cards, because like my storage is getting pretty big right now. I don't know about you guys, but like I don't have a ton of space for storage. You know, Japanese apartments kind of like shoe boxes. And so I think of my local card shop as a bank. I'm like, okay, do I if I trade this in, if I like sell this to them, do I mind having to pay like the withdrawal fee to get it back? That's how I think about it. And I've been thinking about like what cards do I actually sell, or what ones are okay to sell versus which ones are okay to keep. That's probably going to be a video here in like the next couple weeks or so.
That's funny.
But that's the way I think about it. Again, like
that's honestly
like
a valid point to think of like that, especially if you have a locals that buys cards like that, and then you always buy in front of them. It's 100%.
Yeah.
It's like
so.
You know, it's the price to pay for
getting my card
storage.
Back. yeah. I hope they have it now.
Oh yeah, right. That's the other thing. It's like, damn, they sold it. Well, I guess I didn't need it.
Not today. They gotta pay a premium. Pay a premium. Wow.
All right, so let's move on to our poll results in our Q&A. So our last podcast, it was titled, "Is a Digimon Card Game Pay to Win?" It was very clickbaity. It was clickbaity AF. But our main topic, so I just want to say, I'm going to
the last one
not
was
derail.
The one with Gino.
Yeah, it was, but those results aren't in. We still have like a week to go. So if you guys haven't watched, East also did a podcast with DMV Drakes, and you should go check out that podcast. I watched that podcast when it dropped.
Yeah,
and East said, I'll tell you what East said. East said, Ruin Mode is a cracked card. and it is expensive. And if you guys don't have your copies, you should pick it up.
Mind you, when
That's
you
true
dropped that,
even today.
Ruin Mode was like 50.
Ruin
At
Mode
that
was
moment?
about base was like 40, I want to say. 40 US.
40, 50.
And his
And
alt was
now-
probably around like 50, 55-ish. I'll tell
Close
you
to
what.
$100 now.
6 months ago, yeah, it was chilling. October 2023. I want to say that came out about that time, maybe a little bit later, but yeah, it was about $50 for the alt and about 35 to 40 for the regular. The prices for this card currently, East, is $81 for the regular art, $88. And it hovers regularly around that like $95, $100 mark, along with Dexmon. So, I just want to say, I picked up my Ruin Modes when he said that. And I did not regret my decisions. But I already knew that card was just stupid. So, I was like, I got to have copies of this card anyways.
Look,
I'm
so
God.
jealous because I wish I would have taken my own advice and just paid the $40 for one Ruin Mode, because I have only one copy of Ruin Mode right now, and it hovers around like normally $80 to $90 for the base copy and over $100 for the alt art in Japan. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That car is just cracked.
heed my
We had
words, child.
Sorry. We had some people that like when that car first dropped, they were like, that card is not that good. Like, I want my level 7 to be closer. And we were arguing.
Bro.
We were arguing with him like,
oh my lord.
but it is a closer. Like, it's like, you can't do anything, opponent. I win next turn now if you don't deal with this somehow. And if you do deal with it, well, next 10 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a great, phenomenal card that like people were sleeping on it early on for no reason. And then they realized, oh wait, this is a crack card. We told you so.
I remember that conversation. I was so flabbergasted. He was like, why would Shine run this card? I was like,
why would you not?
because they can Evo into it for free. Because they could just say, oh, I'll end turn on Ruin Mode. Oh, you got a 5K lesson raising? Here, have 10 memory. Do something. It doesn't matter what you do.
That card was like, in my regionals run, when I got 19 with that deck, I had one Ruin Mode in the deck because it was 2 bursts, that thing, and 1 Ruin Mode. That card was so clutch against like Belfmont, for example, because they don't really care about their raising. So it's like, all right, they'll have their rookie, and then they would just get stunned because they would have like a Gazi. Like a time they had a Gazi, they could have went for game or something. I cleared his board, and he was like, all right, I can't do anything. All right, next turn I'm gonna swing another -5. You're gonna still stay back there, and you're not gonna be able to play a game. And that card was also great in the mirror match, especially if they had like a Jewel Gray or Agu in the back, because you want to raise that Agu that makes a Marcus a Digimon sometimes. And like they couldn't do that, so you couldn't make Marcus into a Digimon either. So that card was like phenomenal for me when I was doing that run back in the day.
It's that, and you know what else? I think it's when folks figured out that when you play a Digimon, even if it has its own play effect and its DP is reduced to 0, activate. You don't get the effect. So you actually have very few things you can actually do during that turn if you need to rely on level 3, because you're not going to get its effect. So
exactly,
you're basically just kind of like either locked out and pass, or you pray that you have some massive useful security. Oh, no, excuse you, an option card that can help you, but it's rare for most decks.
And then now you have
anytime I come up against that Ruin Mode.
Yeah.
Then you have a deck like Numemon nowadays. It's like, oh, I'll play a Mega for free, and now I'll just go into Ruin Mode after that. You know, like it's so crazy.
I don't mind at all.
So that was basically the topic of our podcast. We were talking about expensive cards and why we feel that they're both good and bad for the card game. The state of the game over here in America, I don't know if how much you know about it. So
not much at all, Sam. No time.
All right. So basically, we have that and Dexmon. That's like our 2 most expensive base rarity cards. $80 and then $64 for a Dexmon. Everything else, I mean, Renas are expensive.
Waifu tax,
waifu tax.
Yeah, we know.
And that's about it. Arena's like $40 for some ungodly reason. And everything else I think is like way cheaper. But we do have like Patamons that are like $10 for an SR. So a playset's like $40. But in general, like our argument was that, it's both good because it gives value to opening these sets. Like now there's value in opening a box of EX4 when there wasn't before, because that set didn't really give us anything much. So now it's like, all right, cool. If you can get it for like $40-$50, you take the gamble, you open a ruin mode. Cool. If you don't, it's a gamble, right?
Yeah.
And in the case of Dexmon, well, BT9 for us was just short printed. So
really?
Yeah, that's how I feel. BT9, like, because even like Agu X is like the alternate arts, like a lot of the alternate arts from that set, and then Dexmon are expensive. I feel like Oryukins are cheaper now because obviously nobody plays the deck. But we even have like SRs that are going up in price, like obviously because of all the Magnamon hype.
Yeah.
I think Magnamon X is like a $10 SR for no reason.
Yeah, that's literally no reason.
Yeah.
When you see his cousin, you're like, I would never use him, bro. He's like IQ 70 Magnamon X. I would never use this guy.
even X antibodies, they're like a $3 uncommon for X antibodies, which is like kind of insane because generally Digimon commons and uncommons are like, I want to say sub like 50 cents for us.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah. Do you guys have Protoform yet, by the way?
Yeah, we got Protoform, which is a $15 SR.
Get 4 copies.
All right.
Right
already got it.
I'm about to go buy some right now.
Get 4 copies.
As we're speaking.
When I saw that card, I was like, that card is insane. Like, reduce the evolution cost, go to security, return my source to hand. Like,
it's like recovery. It's cost minus on evolve. Yeah. And it's an extra source.
So yeah, I mean, it's $15 a copy, but it was all worth it. But like even that, like EX5, with the Anubismon hit, kind of like tanked that set's cards for a while. But they gave us EX5 and they gave us 2 sets of promos with it. One of them being the Raremons that we wanted to get like 6 months ago. That are $50, like Dan said.
I don't know why that card is so expensive there. It's useful, but like it's not really using it.
Unnecessarily hype for what it can do for decks that aren't like tier 1 decks.
Generically good card.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, you're gonna play it in Machinimon, but like, does Machinimon really need it to run? No. Is it good to have? Yes.
Yeah, like I am like the biggest proponent of Machinimon, and not being able to play it right now is so painful.
So, why is that? Because of the like just the speed of the meta, or
it's just the speed of the game right now. It makes it really difficult for the deck to keep up. So like I when Chaosdramon was a thing, I was like, oh, like this is a cool deck because I can DigiEvolve 3 and it's such a strong effect right now. So you could control out games pretty well, but now there's so many like different ways to remove cards, and decks have more access to removal overall. It's just like I could build a Machinimon, but I give you like 5 memory, and then he's like gone in like a turn or 2. So.
Yeah,
it's hard to make one stick.
Especially now with that supposed ruling change that's coming regards to Leviamon. Because before, I know Machinimon used to get screwed by the Leviamon effect.
Deletion. Yeah.
And now supposedly that's being changed, so we're going to be able to do the double protection. Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that what that? The interpretation of that was? I didn't know.
Yeah. So there was like an email sent to Cardass, and they were like, "Yeah, like you can do this," and our level 0 was like, "Huh?" because this other effect doesn't work the same way, and they were like, "Yeah." So like he's like talking to Bandai apparently, and there's like it's up in the air, but that's the general assumption right now that will change.
Of a ruling that's happening in the new starter decks with the yellow-green Liberator set. The starter decks, there's something in there that caused an effect that was like, oh wait, if this can happen, why can't Machinimon do the double protection supposedly? And then it became example.
It might be Syndromon with Shippiromon.
Maybe. If Levi pops Machinimon, what happens? And then they went in order saying Machinimon protects, and then the second part of Levi's effect protects again. So it became a thing. Don't know if it's official yet or something.
No, it's not official yet. No,
that's being like
it's just
talked about,
being discussed. Yeah.
For For folks who don't know what we're talking about, right now in the game, if you play Leviamon and I have a machine Digimon on board that has enough sources to save itself with its own effect,
Correct.
where whenever it will be destroyed, you like pull out two source cards and it lives. Because Leviamon's effect essentially kills 2 Digimon in one effect, you can only use the protection effect from the the machine Digimon one time, and then it would just die if it's the only Digimon on board to the second deletion effect. But what these guys are saying is that the under the new rules, you would be able to save your machine Digimon twice, which honestly I think it kind of makes sense, right? It's
it does make sense.
Because,
when this Digimon would, it interrupts. Why can't it interrupt a second time?
Exactly. It made no sense.
So I think what they're changing,
confirmed, but I don't know.
Right? Yeah, I agree, Dan. Like the first rule, I was like, really? That's how it works? Okay. All right.
So I think specifically what they're changing is that they're not recognizing the all turns effect as like an effect per se. It's more of just like something that's like passive and in play, so that like when it triggers, it's not like it's an activatable effect that can only trigger once. It's just like, I guess like kind of like the game mechanic argument type thing. It's just like it's supposed to happen because they're fixing a loop with Sukamon and like the deletion prevention loop, the inheritable.
Oh, you talking about
like
the double
if I have
the
what is
chain
it
that keeps happening?
Yeah, the double, King Sukamon.
Basically, yeah.
I thought that was
that's supposed to be fixed within that. That it came up in the conversation. There's like a whole text thing, and I'll send it to you later, Dan. But like, yeah, it was a whole thing. So don't know. It's not official. Don't take our word for it. But I've seen the talks on it. So
I've seen it. I've seen like bits and pieces of the conversation. I think on Discord, but I haven't like really followed along. So
yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So that's what we were talking about. So I had asked, how do expensive cards affect your experience with the Digimon card game? Our audience is mostly English. We have probably like a very, 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 very small amount of people who play in the Japanese meta.
Like 1 or 2 people.
I only know one person who's in our Discord, so shout out to Cats Caps. But most of our audience is English based. So out of the 5 options, we got 23 votes. 7 people said, I'll buy whatever. 6 people said, I only play casually. That doesn't bother me. 4 people said, doesn't matter to me. Only 3 people said it hinders my competitive play. And then 3 people said other, and that they would elaborate in the Q&A. Did anybody elaborate? There we go. So Josh said, it hurt when I first started playing it in 1.5 because product was so scarce and Omnimons were $60 Australian, which is even worse. I went overboard and spent money when I shouldn't have. It hurt. I learned from that at least. I mean, that's just, that's anybody who's not in experience. North America it's worse.
But 1.0 and 1.5, that was just, that was I don't know what you call it, like a hell zone when it came to
it was tough.
Buying
it was
product.
Tough in your hands on product for sure.
Omnimons, I bought an Omnimon for like $80 and I thought that was like a legit thing. I thought that was gonna be a permanent thing. I remember doing that. Hey, I had money to spend back in the day,
Hey, you got it, flaunt it, bro. I ain't mad at you, but gee,
I only bought one, so I was like, I had the one. I was like,
for $1.
Yo, exactly. I bought the R.
It's crazy looking back on it, and you're like,
so like, I remember
when these bad boys were $80 on release.
My God. Yeah. BT1 Omni was at one point like almost like it was like $80 to $100, and then the R was like $150 to $200 for us, something like that. So I like waited, got the one that was like $80, and then Alter S, same thing. Alter S was like an $80 card, and then like the R was like $100 plus at that time as well. It was so crazy. I was like, I had to get at least one of each. The regular arts.
Just get one, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't help that not only was product scarce, but 1.0 and 1.5, like pulling an Omnimon felt like you were pulling a secret.
Oh, that's how I thought that was a
messed
secret
up
to me.
Those ratios were. I thought the same thing.
Because like BT1 Mill, Greymon, and Veedramon is like, especially Veedramon. Like, who cares about the Veedramon?
Cool,
even back then, that Veedramon was trash. Like,
hey, I love my Veedramon.
No, car is terrible, even with a training boost.
Terrible.
So the Q&A, I asked, what do you think about the financial state of the card game? Guz said, the cards and their cost have stayed consistent for the rarity in Australian dollars. Any deck that needs a secret or a waifu, good distinction there, usually needs such a heavy monetary investment, including the limited promos. Jean-Claude said it's easy to feel FOMO when you look up deck profiles and every one of them runs Dex or Ruin. And then there's the trainings, which there are no good substitutes for, which isn't wrong. We have Memory Boost, but obviously, a Memory Boost is
different.
No training.
Slightly different.
Smitty says, came from Yu-Gi-Oh! All I had to say was came from Yu-Gi-Oh! But came from Yu-Gi-Oh! And honestly, this game is so cheap, I don't give how much I spend because I know it'll be a bargain. If a card is expensive in Digimon, I think it warrants the price because it's proved itself. Rune mode.
100%.
KG for Rocks says, I love as a mostly casual player who is interested in competitive that for the most part, this game is really affordable to play a meta deck. That said, I don't want to pay $70 for one single non-alt art. Ginger Man said, the cost of cards are starting to see an uptick in price, but that's mostly due to promos and some secrets having bad pull rates. Very few meta SRs are becoming slightly pricier. Anji Woman Ace is the latest travesty. She is, last time I had looked,
she's pretty good.
She was up to like $20, which was
For regular?
bonkers. Yeah, for regular.
Wow,
she is $20 right now. Yep. Her alt art is $80.
God.
Garomon was like $10.
To be fair, Anjuwamon also falls into waifu tax. I'm just saying.
100%.
You're not wrong.
But the card is a really good
You're
card
not
too.
wrong.
You're paying a premium, and it's mostly for the card art.
It's just insane to think about. But also, BT15 was scuffed for us because Bandai gave this to us with LMO1. So
yeah, I heard about that.
We just
and the pull rates were like
suffering.
connected, so it's like you would like sometimes get the LMO
Quantumon was our secret.
Good
We
card,
have,
but
we have
yeah.
3 secrets: the Quantum, Apocalypse, and then the
Pulling our
Naga.
Ace Ghost Game SRs made me feel
that was-
bad every time.
Terrible. Hated it.
And then let's not mention the special rares that aren't guaranteed to be one per case and
Oh yeah.
just sucks ass. Just sucks major ass.
Yeah, going off what you said, like there, yeah, I noticed it. I think a lot of the Japanese players noticed it as well. But we didn't know if we attributed to the price of cards going up to scarcity because the game is getting more popular here, or if it was like the cards are just overall better. I think that from maybe 16 onwards, it kind of feels like one of those two things is happening, but it's hard to like put your finger on which one it was, especially here in Japan. But I guess maybe it's just that the card prices are increasing because. Yeah, I think that you guys are going through the same thing as well.
Is it possibly both?
I was gonna ask that question because I know there has been a lot of topics about how the card game is performing not only over here but over in Japan. I know for us, like the card game it's not like as it was popular before One Piece came along, and then everybody who was playing Digimon because it was a cool competitive card game went to play One Piece for brand.
Yeah,
so
I think that we're strong. Yeah,
exactly. So we still have like obviously the dedicated people who like Digimon or who became that invested in the Digimon card game that they still play it.
Yeah,
I'd like to think that it's growing, given that some of this stuff just like price wise, doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, right? How much of it is due to just cards being good compared to game growing? So. Question, how does how many local, do you just go to one locals a week?
No, I live like near like a 10-minute walk from Akihabara in Tokyo. And so I have like a plethora of locals I can go to on almost any day of the week. Whether I have time to do that is a different question, but yeah. Right.
So have you seen, obviously, it's kind of a bigger thing in Japan because like the card game state. I guess that's like a better question to ask. So like, what do you think of the card game state in Japan right now between all of the games that you do have and the ones that are coming out?
Sorry, when you say games that are coming out, do you mean like other card games or other sets for Digimon?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like any other card games coming out, because I know for us, like Star Wars just dropped. We have this like Lorcana's a big thing over here. And there's like other like competing card games.
Union
and there's
Arena's
like
coming
just
out
more
soon for
coming
us.
out. Yeah. Union Arena's dropping soon for us.
Yeah.
So just generally like curious how things are just like in general for like card games in general, but then also like Digimon, because you as a Digimon player.
Yeah. So a couple things. The card game market here since COVID exploded. Like when I say exploded, I mean in a good way. Like it's flourishing in a huge way. We're getting, I think, Flesh and Blood in Japanese pretty soon. People have actually been playing Flesh and Blood in English in Japan, which is pretty wild. Card shops were selling cards in English before it even officially released in Japan.
That's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, Union Arena, despite me and pretty much all my friends dunking on that game when it first came out, the IP power has been like strong enough to keep that game going. I think they just released the Yu Yu Hakusho set, and people went crazy. Well, I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho, great series. Like,
yeah, exactly.
for good reason. But that game is actually doing quite well. There was a poll, not a poll, but like some statistics were done on like the sales of card games in Japan recently over the last year. And Digimon actually came in 12th place.
Yeah.
It was the one, I saw a Different Fights video on it.
Yeah.
So it was very insightful.
Yeah, Chris was, he talked about it a bit.
No, sorry, continue.
Oh, no, those statistics are a little bit misleading. They show an insanely huge uptick for card games like Union Arena. Something you have to keep in mind though is the release dates for these games may have been within the last like 2 years or so, within the last 2 years. So when you see something like 600% increase for Union Arena, keep in mind that the previous statistics was done the year before, and the game had only been out for like 1 month. So when you take like Makes 1 month of sales versus 1 year of sales, you don't mention that, things can get a little weird when you take like, damn,
for sure,
Union Arena's going ham, but actually it's like, no, they just got a full year cycle. So I'd love to take a look at that based on just that, like a full year cycle for all the games that have been out for a while. But here's a really interesting take about Digimon. I think that a lot of folks don't really consider. When they had to make the tough decision to hit Apocalypse and Anubismon, when they had never hit a secret rare or a super rare card before, they almost immediately after that mentioned, hey, we're unifying the game worldwide.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think that is because, I don't know if you guys know this, but America is their biggest market. The Digimon card game is more popular in America than it is in Japan.
Wow.
And as a result, they saw that like if no one wants to buy a box for the next set because the cards are going to be hit, even the secret rare ones, they need to have a contingency plan so that they don't lose, that revenue. And so the idea is, hey, if everybody gets everything at the same time, then we don't lose out on our bottom line when it comes out in America.
Of course.
So
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like that was one of our biggest thinking behind it in the first place. You don't have to worry about. We had always thought that like Japan was the market, so everything was made with Japan in mind. So we were like, oh well, they won't ban. We never thought that they would have banned or restricted Apocalypse because the set hadn't dropped for us. We figured we'd get at most what they've done prior. We got the Cross 4 ban.
Yeah.
2 weeks after release. Or when did we know about it? It was like a week after the release of BT10, right, Dan?
Something like that, yeah. And then it was like a week or two later, it was banned. Not banned, but restricted.
So I figured like that's what they might do if they were going to hit it, but I figured they wouldn't have hit it. And I was like, damn, like it sucks because they want to get it over here. They want to give us the card and let us buy the set. But Japan is suffering like big time. So like, how are they going to handle this?
Guinea pig stats, baby.
From our point of view, based on like what we heard, it was like, oh my god, like Japan might die out for Digimon. Was that true, or was that like an exaggeration to it or something like that? Because
Yeah,
that's what
definitely
like
an
everybody was saying
exaggeration.
over here. I was like, okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah. So okay, that's actually very enlightening and interesting. It kind of makes sense because I mean, obviously, America's not only America, but like just entire English meta is such a big market. I know everybody in Europe gets up in arms because there's constant distributor problems. I think one of their Digimon distributors just went out of business actually, so that's like a big corkscrew for them. Let's not talk about like the problems that Australia can have getting cards and how much it costs to ship things to Australia. And then there's Latin America, who just seems like the forgotten stepchild of anything relating to Bandai. So it's like, gosh damn it. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of scuffed all over. So it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, now it makes you like think a little bit more like, damn.
Yeah, that makes
If that's the case, why, Bandai? Why are you like this?
Think about it. Like, I think that one of the biggest telling reasons is that, biggest telling examples is that anytime the American market like makes a complaint, it's resolved. I mean, it might not be immediately, but like, you guys wanted better pricing for locals, you got it. You guys wanted to not have a card, be hit like a week after it's released. They hit it beforehand. Like, you guys have quite a bit of power as far as like the direction of the actual game itself.
Yeah, our biggest issue was getting RB1. And I think that's a decision that came back to, I'm not going to blame the community entirely for that. I'm only going to put like half of the blame on the community because the other half goes to Bandai for just like very, very poor management of that.
Yeah, that was such a bad decision initially.
With that being said, we got the exact product that we wanted. We got exactly what Japan got.
And they still cried about it.
And that was, Japan complained that the pull rates were bad. So we got the same exact product.
You got the same experience. I mean, yeah.
So we got the same experience.
You got what you asked for. Like, hey, we want the same thing Japan got. Like, yeah, we will take that. The monkey paw curls, you will get exactly what you want. No problem. Yeah.
So it makes sense. I know we definitely have a very, very vocal set of people out here. Shout out to the boy Lance. Lance always local. Lance always vocal. Sometimes overly vocal. But
for good reason though, to good effect as well.
Definitely for a good reason. I think it's important to just accountability, especially for Bandai of all companies. It's not just Bandai though. Like, it's just all card game companies over here. Because like Bushiroad, it's the same thing over here.
Ooh,
as a matter of fact, I feel like Vanguard players have it worse sometimes, to be honest. Like, that whole cheating fiasco, this is insane.
The One Piece is right around the corner, man. I mean, you saw the videos of that guy doing some like shifty stuff, like got friends under the table, just like passing.
Yeah, right.
It's just like, really, dude? Are the manga rares really that important?
Well, so it's because I don't know what it's like in Japan, but I know the pricing over here, like, so
it's the
you
same.
didn't hear it from me.
It's the same.
Okay, so the pricing like pays for people's tuitions and shit. And I'm like, like when money's on the line, it brings out the worst in people, So
yeah, literally in some cases. I have a friend who's come over to Japan from Southeast Asia. I think he lives in I think it's Malaysia or Indonesia, one of the two. But he's come to Japan 2 times. He's paid for a flight ticket, he's paid for a hotel, and his only reason for being here is selling One Piece cards. And he comes out positive even after he factors in the cost of the airplane and the lodging.
It pays to play. It does pay to play.
IP power is strong, friends.
IP power is strong. That's what I keep telling people. They're like, oh, Digimon's dying. I'm like, no. Digimon's not dying. Don't bring up One Piece in any conversations when you're talking about Digimon, because like, One Piece doing well is good for us. At the bare minimum, One Piece will carry the rest of us.
Let's go.
One Piece is at the helm of the ship, and we're all just chilling in the brig.
That's fine. Let me chill.
Union Arena, Battle Spirits Saga.
Well, Battle Spirits is being hung. It's on the anchor right now. Yeah,
they're actually walking the plank. I don't know.
It's soon to be Union Arena. It is. I really do love.
We enjoyed it.
I loved it when I saw it
immediately, and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's because it became such a sweat game. Like, One Piece definitely is a very sweat game right now. But just, obviously, like you said, it's IP staying power, so more people stay playing that game. But like, I was like, oof, I'm not playing Battle Spirits competitively. That's like super sweaty. And like I'm a sweat, but like I enjoy having fun when I sweat. I'm not trying to. Yeah, exactly. So I'm good with Digimon.
Experience with VSS was I built the was it White Control?
White Control. Yep.
Like the first set. And I was the whole time when they was revealing that card, I was like, big giant robots. I'm down. I'm about to play that.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what type of style it is. I'm playing it. And I ended up getting like second just by being like playing the starter deck deer thing. That's like
elk. Fanatec
you can't kill
elk.
it for anything, and like you just do anything. I was just like, all right, got this boy on board, and then just like support him. And I was like, GG. They're like, yeah. And I was like, all right, next game.
I got there, yo.
Just sat there. It was just like, all right, this is easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the maybe the mistake that Bandai made was that they catered to their competitive audience when you kind of have to build the casual audience first to support the competitive audience. The casual audience basically carries the game. The competitive audience will always be there no matter what. But if you don't have like a casual base around them, then like you get like you said, the sweatiest players who will basically have like the lowest investment for the highest return. And I mean that doesn't keep the game sustainable.
Yeah, when you tell them
that was my biggest thing.
Have like $1 million payouts and like all cash.
You're
just gonna have all straight.
That's
like,
fine.
You know,
I think
the sweatiest players.
Capcom did the same thing with Street Fighter.
Yeah, but like I think video games is a little bit different in that sense, though. I feel like I could be wrong in that sense.
Maybe because like they're actually cheaper.
They also have history compared to Battle Spirits, which is a history in Japan, but was just basically a new IP in America where you've got Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! But then you're also trying to cannibalize your own player base who's already playing Dragon Ball and Digimon at the time, soon to be One Piece. That's why I'm glad Union Arena for us, it looks like they're not like pushing it super hard the way that they push like Battle Spirits. It just kind of looks like, all right, cool. Like this can really be a side game and not just have to be my main game type thing. I see. So I have hopes that Union Arena actually does succeed because I I like White Shorts. So by virtue, I'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
the parallels are strong here. Yeah.
Exactly.
All I care about Union Arena is that there's Tails in it, and I'm down for Tails. like the Tails series is like one of my favorite all-time JRPGs. So like seeing they were in there, I was like, that's the only way I'm playing it probably.
All it takes is one set. That's all it takes. I saw I saw some of the Demon Slayer SPs, and I'm like,
ooh, yeah. You're like, am I about to really play Union Arena? Hold on a second. It's like absolutely not. It's
exactly.
Like, am I really about to do this though? Hold up.
Yep. That is exactly what's about to happen. All right, so enough of that. Let's get into it. Let's get to know East. So I'm curious.
Yes,
I think like one of my biggest questions is obviously like, who are you? But how did you? Who are you? No, I'm kidding. How did you come to play Digimon as the card game? I already know, but just for our viewers, so that they can kind of just get a feel. But also, like, how did you come across being in Japan and just kind of like your history? I've always been curious about that. So
sure.
That's the question.
So I actually played card games when I was pretty young. My earliest memory is like I was going through a Books A Million. I don't know if you guys even have those in the States anymore. On like a Friday night.
No, we still do.
I saw.
I don't know if they're about to.
Do we really?
They still have like online shops, I think.
Oh, okay.
My hometown had a Books A Million in the mall, so it was like big Books A Million and like connected to the mall. And we were there one night at the bookstore, and I saw a bunch of kids like on the floor in like a corner playing Pokemon cards. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool because I like Pokemon. I'm a kid, right? Like who doesn't? And I asked my mom. I basically begged my mom to bring me back. I got a starter deck and I went and I played. And I would play that game because the way that they kind of organized the league for the game is that every week you could play against the shopkeeper, and every month you could play against the shopkeeper, and if you won, you actually got a Pokemon badge. And so yeah, like I basically did that for a couple months, And then Yu-Gi-Oh came out.
Early gym leader challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. But a couple months later, Yu-Gi-Oh came out. So I remember a friend of mine came to my door, and the cartoon had already been on on TV on Saturday mornings. So I was already like interested in it. And a friend of mine came to my door. He's like, I got a Dark Magician card. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I'll give you my Charizard for that. Worst decision of my life. Anyway.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not a Charizard.
I got a starter deck Dark Magician for my base game Charizard. Worst decision of my life. But I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I play Yu-Gi-Oh, and then the Books-A-Million that played Pokemon, that I played Pokemon at, they actually started running a Yu-Gi-Oh event on Saturday mornings. So my mom said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm not gonna spend every Saturday morning at this damn bookstore. So I will drop you off, and then I'll pick you up in the afternoon. So I was like, cool. Yu-Gi-Oh would start at 10 in the morning. I'd go there, and then my mom would pick me up at 3. But the event stopped at noon. So I had to do something for 3 hours, and I basically ended up going to the arcade. And over time, I would only go for Yu-Gi-Oh. This is when I swapped over and kind of stopped playing card games. I would go to Yu-Gi-Oh to sell a card, and then I would use the $10 I got from selling a card in Yu-Gi-Oh to get $15 worth of tokens, because I knew the arcade worker. And I basically started playing fighting games. I kind of stopped maybe after high school playing card games at all. Fast forward, after I get out of college, I came to Japan. And I guess the story, this kind of ties in as well. The story of how I got to Japan was I worked at a university after I graduated. I actually worked as the faculty there. And I basically automated myself out of a job. When I started, it was me and one other person. And we had basically we're running the entire housing department for the school. And at the end of 3 years, it was 4 of us. And I was like, this job doesn't need 4 people. We built systems and enough systems so that it could be managed by 1 or 2 people. So I said, good time for me to leave. And I really want to travel because I'm still young. I've got no anchors on me. And I said, I want to travel. So I looked at Japan, Korea, China, and I basically did a bunch of research on Reddit. Probably the worst idea. And they said, you got to go to Japan, bro. You got to go to Japan. So I went to Japan, and here I am. Fast forward to about just as COVID starts, maybe just before, different fight actually, who had come and visited me at a fighting game event here in Tokyo while he was visiting, kind of chatted me up, and we became friends. And then online, he's like, hey, you should check out the Digimon Card Game. I was like, what are you talking about? And he basically kind of showed me what the game was. And then I went out to my own local card shop, and I was like, the starter decks for this game are $4. So I bought 3 of them and a couple of packs, and he essentially taught me how to play the game around BT3 or so. And then from there, I started playing the game more. And then maybe about a month and a half later, a friend of mine contacted me because I was doing some work for fighting game production in Japan at the time. He was like, hey man, you ever heard of this game called the Digimon Card Game? I work for a marketing company, and Bandai's approached us to do this online event for it because of COVID, and we need someone to actually manage the project. And I was like, it's crazy you're contacting me because I've been playing. I literally got into the game last month, and it's fantastic. And that's where the Digi Showdown series actually came from.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember those.
And then from there, I've just continued to play the game. It's a game I actually enjoy playing. I haven't played it was the first card game I played in 10 years or so. And I was like, yeah, I missed this feeling. Card games were so fun. And so, yeah, here I am today. Yeah.
So how'd you get into Digimon?
What's up?
No, you're fine. So how'd you get into Digimon?
Basically DF sold me on the idea. I wasn't really.
No, I mean just Digimon, is it something that you were with as a kid, or are you just kind of oh, okay, I mean, this looks cool, let me give it a try type thing?
Actually, I got to maybe I think season 3 as a kid. When did they beat Edamon and he became the giant ball of cables, and they beat that too? That's why I basically
you would know, Dan.
Is that still season 1?
Yeah, that's still season 1. Yeah.
I thought that was season 3, bro.
No. Season 3 is Tamers. That's what Guilmon and Takado and them.
Oh, that's
I don't think any of the I don't think any of the individual series ever had more than one season.
No.
I think they've all been like standalone 52 episode things.
If you want to call it like arc,
damn,
that was
I
probably
didn't
like the third arc-ish.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of arcs. I don't know, but yeah, in that case, yeah, I got through one season, and then I basically said, "Well, moving on with life." And then when I play the game, people assume that I know so much about the show, so they're like, "Bro, have you seen what Hanamon?" I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, when a new set drops for me, it's a learning experience because I've never seen half these things before in my life.
You and me both, bro. You and me both.
I had to have someone like sit down and like explain the concept of like the 7 great demon lords to me, and I was like, oh, there's lore here. I was like, why does this guy have 7 swords in all of his knees? Like, this seems like the worst. Like, yeah.
He's like, this design doesn't make sense
That's
to me.
funny.
And then, like, someone explained. It's
I was like,
this makes sense now. So you're
okay.
So like,
okay,
I'm the opposite, right? Like, if you're Vanney
Dan's
is
a
you in the
nerd.
sense. No, I'm not a nerd. If you want to call me a Digimon nerd,
Dan's a
sure.
Digi nerd.
So,
And
like,
I'm
I grew up
Dan
with
can
it.
actually call us scrubs.
When it comes to like the knowledge Digimon, sure, I'm not gonna say that in the card game wise, but like I grew up with it, so like I watched it since like day one as a kid, and then like I played every game almost. So like when the card game dropped, I was like instant like hooked. It was like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was playing it no matter what, it was bad, good, or indifferent. And I was like trying to get friends together, like, yo, this is new Digimon card game. I know like the old ones flopped, but like we gotta try this anyways. You know what I'm saying?
I know the old ones flop, but hear me out. Hear me out.
There's a chance it might be good.
The memory system is actually great.
Oh, fantastic. And then like the card art was phenomenal off the rip. Like Black with Greymon R, the first one, the secret, it's like one of my top 3 arts in the game to me. Like that card is so beautiful. And then like the War Greymon R. Then you got the Beelzemon in the chair that's looking like a boss man. You know what I'm saying? Like I was hooked with the arts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who's actually getting into the game in the States now, and he's like, why is all the art so good? And I'm like, yeah, the guy who does the box art for a lot of the Gundam stuff, if you like Gunpla, his name is Naochika Morishita. He does a lot of the art for basically any machine style or Gundam style card, or actually just other stuff as well. But if you've ever seen, for example, Cross 7 alt art, or was it Leopardmon? No. Leomon's alt art, where it looks like a
the
Gundam.
heavy Leomon.
Yeah, heavy Leomon.
Okay.
Those are all done by that guy now, Chika Morisha, the guy who does like actual Gundam artwork. So.
Oh, that's cool.
That makes a lot more sense now, because I've been looking at like Cross 7. I'm like,
right?
That's a Gundam.
yeah. Sound like, this is something from Iron Blooded Orphans. I know, yeah.
No,
sure.
That's fantastic. That's pretty cool. I actually was doing research the other day, and like I found out like not just Naochika, but like there's a bunch of artists who are doing like they've just been doing all sorts of different art. I can't remember which one exactly it was, but one of them has been doing art since they were like 8, 10. Seems like apparently
for Bandai, supposedly, yeah.
Oh yeah, for Bandai, because they were like doing art for whatever like the original Digimon card game was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if they were born in 91 and this card game came out in like 2001, and they say they're credited for working on the card game from 2001 to 2005, so not 8, but like they're like 13.
Yeah, still pretty damn young. That's crazy.
Bandai was like,
Lord.
It was
free labor or something. I don't know.
Pretty much. My dad one of the execs, so
I was just about to say it's a true definition of my uncle works at Bandai.
For sure.
Also, for the folks watching at home, do not look up Koki. Koki's the guy who drew the Hydromon art.
Yep.
Don't look him up.
Oh yeah, we know. Yeah.
Don't look him up.
Yeah.
So we just started this series called DigiKnow. It's our boy, the same boy Gino that Dan was playing at Locals. He's a part of our group, and he does a series called DigiKnow, which is basically like a bunch of trivia snippets about Digimon in general, but how it relates to the card game. And he was like, I have an idea for one. I just don't know if I should do it. And I was like, oh, what is it? He was like, did you know about Koki? And I was like, no, explain it to me. He explained it, and I was like,
don't do it.
I don't think we should do that.
That's going to be a one and done series real fast.
That's our airs. We're done.
We got demonetized by YouTube. Why? What? I don't understand.
I mean,
it's just art.
The art is very stylistic. It looks very nice.
I just gotta say, he just gets away with some stuff, and Bandai's just like, yeah, this is fine. Like,
bro, the Hydrassi was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, all right, so we can get nuns with guns, but we can get some Plantussi. That's what you're gonna allow out here.
The Hydrassi is like, why is it spitting? Oh, that ain't spit, is it? I understand. Okay, don't
TLDR.
It's KOK.
Don't look up Cookie.
Don't look it up. Yeah.
You know what's the worst part? I guarantee we'll get comments from this and they looked them up and they were like, why would you do this to us?
You've been warned.
Hey, he said don't do it.
Yeah. Listen to the
He
man.
might not show up if you keep safe search on Google, so it's fine. I'm just saying.
Oh my lord, that's so funny.
Oh my god.
All right. So next question.
All right.
So, what drove you to become a content creator, and especially pursuing like Digimon?
That's a tough one. So there's two common themes you'll probably get from me talking about like my life, and the first is I really like fighting games, and I just like teaching people. Those are kind of like the two common themes that kind of appear no matter what I end up doing. And so I've been playing fighting games for damn near 20 years now. And I used to run a website and an entire video series. If you've been on my channel for longer than like 3 years, you probably know this. But I don't expect a lot of people to know this because a lot of the videos aren't super popular. I used to do a teaching series for fighting games. I actually ran a website called FGC Academy. And I basically just had a bunch of blog posts to help people get better at fighting games. And there was a time when I got into card games a bit more. I was looking in the space for Digimon. I was like, there's really not a lot. And so I wanted to do something and make it so that people could more easily get into Digimon. They could learn more about the game. I was like, well, what can I provide people that they would think would be useful and not a lot of other people can do? And so I basically leveraged me being here in Japan, and basically I get access to cards first, and so I can also take a look at what people are playing before it even comes out in the States. And so I said, maybe I can do something based on that. And so that's where a lot of like the meta report stuff comes from. I gotta reiterate this. If you think it's a tier list, I'm so sorry. I've tricked you. I've pulled the wool over your eyes. I'm just showing you what people are playing. I don't believe any of the decks that are always winning are good. In fact, I believe the Vaccine Armor is the strongest deck in the game, bar none. But you're not going to see that at the top every single week. So I'm never posting a tier list. If I do post a tier list, you know that I'm I've hit rock bottom, and I'm like that's like this hard up for views, which is not the case. But yeah, like a lot of stuff that I do is based on like trying to teach people and trying to basically give folks info to help them either play the game or become better at the game. I think I told you guys before that, but like I'm basically helping a friend in the States get into the game now, and so I've been like basically like I showed him the cheat sheet that I've made to help him like understand the game very quickly when he's like playing in a game, like understand, okay, like this is the first phase, like a draw. I can only use I saw that cheat sheet effects whenever I actually play the card rather than evolve it. So yeah, like I am very much a teacher, and I like that. So I think I answered your question. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, you definitely did. So what's like some of the biggest difficulties you faced being a content creator over the last few years?
The biggest difficulties, honestly, is my time. I joke with my wife about this pretty often, but like I either need to learn and become Naruto so that I can make copies of myself, or I need the ability to live multiple lifetimes, because there's so much stuff I want to do, I just don't have the time to do it. I hold the full 9-to-5 job. I work with an editor now. Thank God for Lord Seiji. Holy crap.
Lord Seiji.
Yeah, that guy is a godsend. and I still like want to do fighting game stuff. I love playing fighting games. Additionally, I have like not work, but like a friend group that I want to like always integrate with, and I feel bad whenever I'm like, hey, like they're like, hey, anybody want to go out for like for games, because they all play fighting games as well, or like just like hang out tonight. I'm like, I gotta make a video. I'm sorry, like so like the juggling act that comes with like creating content is a lot, and being able to do it consistently is sometimes it's a game of like, okay, what do I give up? So yeah, I think those are like
it's definitely it's
totally.
definitely one thing I struggled with big about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm like you, wife, 2 children, 9 to 5, and then this thing. So it's like, and then also like, if you can't tell, like on my wall, I'm like a big nerd, like a big nerd for everything. So, so I just like everything I lay my eyes on, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so cool. And even worse, it's like, I have a problem playing card games. So I'm like, oh, cool, Star Wars, I'll play that. Oh, cool, Lorcana, I'll play that. Oh, cool, Shadowverse, I'll play that. Oh, cool, Card Fight. Oh, I definitely want to play that. Like, it's just big issues. I'm like, oh, how do I balance it all?
You need to stop playing all these cards. You guys stick to 1 or stick to 2 max, because they will bite you in the butt.
Like, I'm like never 1.5 max. Like
I am down to my 2. It's just Digimon and Star Wars, and
got 'em.
somewhat Illustrals. Not yet. Hey, I've held back, Dan.
I'll play that game.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll make that the second if you want to make that. I was gonna buy stuff the other day, but I was like, no, I shouldn't buy this because that's a bad financial decision, and I'm a responsible adult.
You finally did it. But when it comes to
I put it in the cart.
When it comes to this, man, when it comes to Digimon, the financial responsibility gets thrown out the window. We were just like, why are you buying that for? You don't even like that deck.
I need it.
But I want max rarity, you know. I'm like, but why?
But I like my Metal Greymon.
He's not even a Greymon player. He don't even play Machine Digimon, really. He's like, I got 2 of these now. Why?
Yeah, sometimes we
won one as a team.
I get that.
So we won one as a team, and this man goes, I need another one. I'm just like, dog.
I did.
You have a
I need one for Machine Digimon and one in case I want to play Greymon. I don't want to demolish my deck. I have an issue. I admit that.
The newest one it's so funny because we know, like, so the group we do DGU is now to 5 of us somehow. I don't even know. Originally it was 3. Originally it was 3 of us, and so the 3 of us, he would be like, yo, I'm looking to buy such and such when it comes out, right? We're like, what deck you talking about? He was like, Shine Greymon. This is the one time with the Shine. He's like, instant max rarity. Bought everything, max rarity. I was like, you're not gonna like the deck. He was like, why? Shine Greymon. I loved OG Shine Greymon. We're like, no, it's an aggro ass deck. It's about your OTK. If you're not about it, you're not winning. And he was like, he played it for his first locals, max rarity. After the tournament was done, he was like, yo, Dan, I'm selling this deck. Why'd you do this? I told you, buy base rarity.
Like I tried to help you, friend. Almost.
He's done the same thing recently with Leviamon. Surprisingly, I thought Leviamon it would stick because Levi is more of a control-esque, board control style deck. For some reason, it didn't stick with him. And then surprisingly, he was like, yo, I'm about to build Fenrir. I was like, yo, you're not gonna like Fenrir. Fenrir is an OTK style deck. He's actually been liking it, but recently, because it has been like doing well for him in like big tournaments, he's like, I hate this deck now. I'm just like,
yeah, it's been bindered. It's currently in the BT17 waiting room.
And then here's the newest one. So now he randomly got a really good. He randomly was a waitlist. He was on a waitlist for the Ulti Cup, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was like, what do I play? I was like, I don't know. So he's got the answer or whatever on the waitlist like 12 a.m. that night, whatever. He was like, I'm building Magnamon. The fuck you building Magnamon for? You never played the deck. He was like, yo, but I got these R's already. So like I'm about like dog. All right, whatever. So he builds it.
Oh God.
He gets, was it 18th place with it? He did really
18.
well with it. Mind you, it's 2 a.m. brew, this, that, and other. And he was like, yo, I got 18 plates. And then now he's like, I'm a blue player. I'm about max rated Mirage player. Like, what? What are you talking about? You're not a blue player. You've never been a blue player in your life. Now all of a sudden you want a max rated Mirage? A deck you don't even have?
Listen, here's the story, right? So I love yellow. I love the concept of I love the concept of being a cockroach in a card game, you know? Like just not dying no matter what you do to me and just surviving long enough till I can win, right? But I hate Secon now because I hate the way that Secon plays. When I got into the game, I played Megazoo. I love Megazoo. I played like early days Secon. That was fun, but like now it's just like, now it disgusts me. And now it really disgusts me. So I was like, I really like yellow, and yellow just won a tournament over here. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's take this deck and try to make my jank work, which is Kentorismon. Kentoris and Mitama. I love that deck. I love it to death. I took it, I built it, I went to locals and I played it. And then round one, I got slapped up by Ulforce because the deck, yeah, it wouldn't die, but then I also couldn't close a game out. And I was like, oh my fucking goodness. And I was like, no, I can't take this anymore. I was like, I like to stall, but I like to win. I don't want to stall and not be able to win. I'm not playing this anymore. So that's why I'm like, all right, yellow, binder. Blue, hello, blue, my new best friend. the next best cockroach color.
Infinite card draw? What's this? Good value?
Infinite card draw, consistency, and board control. Count me in.
You know?
Jamming also.
Oh my god. Yep.
I can't believe American players cried about Bukamon getting hit, and then they like Frame 2 released a Galgamon that says jamming in sources. It's like, what do you guys cry about?
Every time I played Magnamon and I pulled into that Bukamon, I was like, wow, this is really cracked that I can just swing and not have to worry about dying to security. Damn, this deck would have been even better with Bukamon at 4. That's probably an issue. If my egg being at 4 makes me say, wow, this deck would have been really, really busted.
Like,
so...
The justice for Bukamon, shut up, bro.
This is how finicky like the American, like I feel like the American market is. When Bukamon's at 4, oh my god, Bukamon needs to get hit. Bukamon is so cracked, blah blah blah. The moment, I swear to God, it was like a week after it got hit, all the blue players came was like, I need my Bukamon, blah blah. I'm just like, weren't y'all the same people?
Bro, shut up. You can't just win games.
Like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Exactly. Melga with Bukamon was the bane of my existence because it was just like, oh cool, you're just gonna build this dumbass OTK stack with jamming that's gonna bounce all of my shit back to my hand and you're just gonna win that turn. Yeah, well, okay, buddy. Yeah, go jump off a cliff, whatever. Like Melga was,
oh my god.
And then Mirage, just as ignorant.
I lived. Don't worry, I understand.
Yeah, you've been there. You're in the future for us, so you've been there already.
Literally guinea pig. That is my life. Yeah, I get it.
It's so funny because like every time, so like I don't know if Japanese lists are the same, but like Mirage list over here, they started running 3 eggs with their one Bukamon, so I think up their consistency of seeing it. And then they also run the Betamon with the jamming inheritable. And I'm just like, this is what y'all are going through. If you felt you needed the Bukamon at 4, look at what you're doing to get Bukamon levels of consistency.
It's gotten so bad that we've even seen lists that run the Siegramon that has rush on body and jamming is inheritable. Like that's how bad it was. It was like 4 Betamon and then like 1 or 2 of those with like the Galga, the 4 Galga of each.
Yeah,
like it's gotten to that point where it's just like, Jesus.
It's like, really, come on.
It's insert Iron Man meme here. I forget how it goes. It's literally that. It's what I try telling people about like Ruin Mode. It's like, I like Ruin Mode. I'm not going to tell you to not pick it up if you can afford it. But not every deck needs to play it. Some decks are definitely better off with it.
Oh, for sure.
But like, you don't necessarily need to pick it up, especially if you don't want to spend the money. I'd implore you to just go pick up, dumbass Red Hybrid.
Hey, there's a meme in my Discord of like Takia, like the Takia like tamer card, like doing this, and behind him just like a house is on fire. And it's just mission accomplished.
Oh man! Speaking of Red Hybrid, so I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite deck in the card game? Is that what it is?
My favorite deck right now, actually at one point it was Red Hybrid, but right now would probably be Dorogoromon. I'll be doing a deck profile on it pretty soon, but I've played that deck quite a bit, and there's so many different ways to build it. It's got a lot of options, and no matter where you are in the game, it almost never feels like you're completely out of it. Like, I feel like I have an answer to pretty much anything that you can throw it at me. For example, the Dorumon has like protection from basically every effect except destruction. And whenever you destroy it, you go into Dex Doruga and you Digivolve 3 and then you wipe the lowest level, I think it is, of all Digimon on board. And that and the ability to Digivolve from trash is insane to keep your Digimon alive. Piercing plus blocker plus reboot plus like DP plus. It's a bunch of simple effects that come together that basically give you this full toolbox to basically handle any problem that comes at you. That, and I'm also a really big fan of, and this is going to sound awful if you lived through BT12, Greymon. I love like protagonist as Agumon and Greymon. And I pretty much every set I try to make the deck work. Like I was in the Black War Greymon Discord like a week and a half ago. And I was like, hey guys, what if we took all of the option cards, like the training cards and the memory boosts, and we ripped them out of the deck and we just added in the BT17 Tai and Cardi White Tamer? Because you can essentially get down any Tai Tamer you want. The issue with the deck was because it runs red and black, there's no easy way to get every card you need with a search. So for example, if you use the red training card or red memory boost, you cannot get access to your black Tai Tamers, which are really good. And if you use the X Antibody Cool Boy card, then you can't search out regular Agumon cards or your Tai Tamers. And so I was like, well, how can I make it so the deck is more consistent to search out anything it needs and also get down the Tamers I need very quickly? And the white Tai and Cardi Tamer from BT17, basically for 3 costs, you drop it down on the board, and then anytime you would hatch, you gain an extra memory. And then whenever your end of turn comes around, you can bottom deck it, draw a card, and then play a Tai Tamer for free. So the idea is the end of your turn comes around, you drop the Tamer into your turn for the memory to swing over, and then immediately you bottom deck it, draw an extra card to add to hand, and then you can just play like a 4-cost Tai Tamer down. That sets your memory to 3. And so you essentially get the refund of like 1 memory, but then you also can play any Tai Tamer you want. So it gives you more card draw like the trainings would, and also lets you play any Tamer you need. And the new Greymon, the secret rare Greymon from BT17, can also either hatch a Digimon or play a Tamer whenever he's destroyed. So you have lots of ways to get out Tamers very quickly, where in the past that wasn't the case. So right now, I also
fair in BT17.
In 17, Black War Greymon is actually not awful, but you do end up running the risk of just running into a bad matchup. So for example, Dominimon from EX7 will just murder you because he basically makes all angels like indestructible from effects. And so if they play like 4 angels and 2 of them or 1 of them is Anjuamon Ace, then they can, whenever you would destroy one of their angels, they trash the security, Anjuamon Ace recovers the security, and they're just sitting pretty again. So there's some bad matchups.
That's tough.
But there's a more offensive version of Agumon, which uses the old Agumon.
Oh, the Bond one, right? I saw
Tamer?
I saw that. I think you showed it 2 weeks ago. I think it was like a Bond-esque, right? Type deck.
Yeah. So the secret rare Greymon that comes out in BT17 also has this really weird effect where it's like, hey, I also keep the name of every card under me. Yeah. So you can actually evolve that Greymon into Agumon Ace because it has the name Agumon. And so that alongside that alongside like the Skull Greymons and the Analog Youth, the deck is actually quite fast. It's like an aggro Agumon deck, which is pretty decent.
Speaking of that
So-
Super Greymon, I've been theory crafting myself. I don't know. I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody like talk about it in like JP because I know that the one person that was the big guy with the promo Black Greymon OTK deck that is just like a solitaire style deck.
Yeah,
I was surprised because that card, I feel like that card can just like make that deck even better now. I'm surprised that hasn't popped up a little or something.
The issue I think is because you have one attacker, and if he fails, then the game is over. And a singular ace or a Magna X ruins your whole day.
Okay, makes sense. All right.
Yeah, Magna X when he drops.
I was like,
you
you just go Greymon, Agu X, keep going, build a giant stack, and then go into another small stack DNA, and then promo Black Greymon swing for infinite.
You just need to make him big enough, and because he's only at 11k, it's kind of tough. Whereas like Magna X, whenever he drops, can be like 18k. He's like, well,
you better hope you have the perfect amount of boost underneath it.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm curious, what do you think? Obviously, we're getting the EX7 reveals. I guess actually, before I ask that question, what do you think of Liberator?
I think Liberator is cool. I'm glad that they have some sort of new IP to draw from, and I think that a webcomic is a great way to get kids into the game. I think one of the things that I think that Bandai should be focusing on right now, just as a layman, is that most of the people that I play with are either like in their late 20s or at my age, like early 30s, and you need a younger player base to continue the game's life cycle. And so I think Liberator is a really good idea, or a really good way to get people into the game who are younger. I think Seekers was a really cool idea, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm a card game player. I can barely read as it is, so telling me to read like a novel online, that is... I'll say that Seekers has a very cool story. If you've actually followed along,
yes,
the story is very cool. But I'm functionally illiterate, so I can't expect like children to do the same. So I think a comic is much easier barrier to entry for folks.
I love Seekers, and I say that having read, I would say 80% of chapter 1. That's about it. I love the concept. It's fantastic. It looks great. You're right. Not only am I illiterate, but like I just don't have the time either. Liberator's just like, all right, cool. I sat down and I read it in the span of like, I don't know, maybe minutes. 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, 20 tops. And it's just like, yes. I got and I had pictures.
Yeah, right.
Pictures makes everything better.
Card art in comic form. That's cool.
Right, exactly. I got to read a picture book today, Mom. Like I could ask for nothing more.
TikTok is
Digimon
ruined us.
Seekers. Oh yeah, 100%. Digimon Seekers.
My attention
span.
So I don't use TikTok, but man, like that. Attention spans these days are awful.
Yeah, 5 seconds max is like, all right, if it's not, if it's 5 seconds, you're done, right? Mm-hmm. But Digimon Seekers would have been so much better as an anime. I feel like that just screamed anime to me, or like, I don't know.
Give me a 5-episode OVA. 5-episode OVA. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, that's great.
5 episode, like 45-minute OVA, because that seems like about the time it take. I would die for that. That just the whole live action thing that they did. I was like,
those are really
kind of cheesy. Cool. But I like it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of worked. Yeah. If only Bandai and Toei would follow up on that.
Topic for another day. So the follow-up question to Liberator is, where do you think the card game is going? Like, do you think that it has like positive uplook and upside? Do you think like the growth is there for it, especially being in Japan? I feel like if it starts wavering in Japan, like as strong as it may be over here, I feel like if it wavers in Japan, Bandai's going to be like, ejecto button. Like we got to like start bringing things to a skirt.
I think that the Digimon card game kind of surprised even Bandai because I think they maybe only planned for maybe about 15 sets or so, maybe 14. Or maybe even 13. I fully believe that they said, okay, Royal Knights was going to be like the end of the game, and from there, if the game does well, then maybe we'll continue it, and maybe if not, that's a good place to end things off. And I think they were surprised because the game is more popular than they had imagined, especially considering it released during COVID, a time where people could not physically meet each other. And the game's like mechanics really carried it, and I think they're interesting enough and fun enough so that like even if you're not like next to somebody, you can still like, hey, turn on a webcam, play the game. It's still fun. Of course, I think nothing beats in person, but yeah, like the game is fun enough to the point where people will continue to play. And I think now the reason we see Liberator is because I think Bandai was like, okay, well, we didn't really plan this far. We need something else to pull from, because we've kind of gone through most of the original IPs already. And so I think that Liberator is being solely focused on the actual card game itself is like their big answer to that. So I think that as long as Liberator does well, the game will continue to do well. That's my hope anyway.
I mean, their website was
that's
crashing.
interesting.
There was so many people trying to read it, so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I wish that I think I hear a lot from this. You guys can definitely provide a lot more insight here, but it seems like in America, like trying to get into like events is kind of tough. Like large scale events, like regional events, like you have to be awake at midnight and be like refreshing almost constantly to get into events.
No, not midnight. It's PM for us.
Oh, excuse me.
So the way it is, it's so popular, and I think they've really embraced One Piece too much. Honestly speaking, I'm not gonna shit on One Piece. I get it; it's a popular franchise. Like people want to play it, but I feel like they underestimate Digimon because our tournaments, like our IRLs, we're capped at like 384 players generally.
Oh, really?
And we had an interview with a judge, and it is, right? And he was basically like, Bandai sets the caps. We don't have control over caps. So if 384 is filling up, you'd think they'd be like, oh, well, if 384 is filling up, let's just up the cap to 512. And, let's like give more support so that more people can play the game. But I think I don't know what it is. If they're like, well, I don't know what it is.
Like they're like holding the floodgates, but they're like, we're letting a little go, and then they're closing it back up, and then like letting it go. And it's just a weird like hesitation with Bandai, I feel like, when it comes to Digimon.
And it's just Digimon, because Dragon Ball doesn't suffer from this problem. Dragon Ball, if you wanted to play Dragon Ball, you could play Dragon Ball, both back when it was just Super and now that it's Fusion. Well, actually, no, Fusion World is also filling up, and that's like another thing. Our Digimon tournaments are now combined with Fusion World. So like that's like another thing to consider. So like if a TO wants to do like a Digimon tournament, they also have to do Fusion World.
Interesting.
Was there another one he said? I can't remember if there was another one he said, but like that's another thing now. Like that's just the logistics of it. So it's like
interesting.
But One Piece can have their 512, 1,000 player tournament, whatever. I get it. Obviously, people were lining up for the wait list, which was insane. But I get it.
Yeah,
it's just like
power is very strong.
Digimon, I just don't think they have. I feel like it's because they're a Japanese company, and I feel like Japanese companies are a little bit.
They're old school.
Set in their ways, and they're very old school. They're like they're not looking at what could be with Digimon, and they're just kind of like playing it very extremely conservatively to the point that it kind of pushes people out of the game.
No, I wonder if it's a thing of resources, because what little knowledge I do have of the folks over at Bandai, it feels like that each of the games has their own team, and I think those teams for the most part operate separately. And so I wonder if it's just an allocation of how much they're willing to allocate towards like the Digimon game versus Dragon Ball, which I thought was really strange when you mentioned that Dragon Ball Fusion you have to run alongside Digimon. But honestly, the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense, because they're trying to make sure that the game doesn't, fail. And so maybe they say, okay, well, you have to help us shill our new game if you want to run this game as well. And so basically, maybe it's my hope is that it's just an allocation of resources thing, and not like them like initially just like blowing out their own kneecaps.
No, I definitely think it's an allocation thing, and I feel like I can say with like almost like 98% positivity that like each team does their own thing, because I don't. Do you guys have like serialized cards over there for your tournaments? Or
when you say serialized cards, you mean like numbered cards?
Yeah, numbered cards. Yeah.
There are tournament like winner cards, and then there are like regional winner cards. I know this year's a little bit different all around, but in the past, I don't think they were ever like numbered exactly cards, like cards that had like a number on them or serial number on them. But I could be wrong. I've never won one, so yeah, I don't know.
So well, first of all, they scuffed everything with like competitive play last year.
Yeah,
we started out with, all the good stuff. And then they said, all right, cool. No more invitations. It's open invite, but you get the 2-round bye. Then nobody wanted to play in a regional because not only do I not care for the 2-round bye, but I don't care for what you're giving us as prizing.
Yeah.
And their solution to that was serialized Omnimons. There's 500 of them. And it goes out to top 8. And so I think that's one of the biggest reasons the regionals are filling up. But with that in mind, One Piece started their tournaments out doing serialized Shanks, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. When I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, that's awesome. And I was like, can we get that in Digimon? I think that's big for Digimon. Now you give people a reason to compete competitively outside of getting their invite for nationals. Now I'm playing for a one of, number one out of 500. And they didn't do it last year and they're doing it this year, which is great.
Yeah.
But then along with doing it's like, I feel like you took that idea, cool. Like you looked at One Piece and you saw what's working. You could have done that a little bit sooner. And I feel like now they're cooperating a little bit more because One Piece's roadmap generally seems to be how the Digimon roadmap is going. Digimon or One Piece was supposed to have like store regionals. We got store regionals. They were supposed to have in-store treasure cups. We have evolution cups, which are basically treasure cups now. So it looks like they're definitely communicating a little bit more, which is great. Look at the success of the one that's working and see if it works for the other ones. It's tried and true. Don't reinvent the wheel,
That might be just because it might be out of sheer laziness, because I think that their aim is, we saw last year where they had like the Bandai World Tour or Card Game World Tour.
Yeah.
Bandai Fest World Tour. I can't remember the exact name, but like they had that, and it feels like for simplicity's sake, if they make every game's format the same, like the event format, essentially like the prizing, then it becomes very easy to like cookie cutter those same logistics for basically every game. So
yeah.
But yeah, to your point, like they are good and like they're good decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I just want to play the game. I love me some Digimon. I tried playing One Piece. I like One Piece, but I like Digimon just a little bit more. Yeah. So it's like, just let me play some Digimon and let me get some cool cards. I want a card that, I don't know. What alternate art? Hey, that's a good question. What alternate art would you want the most of?
The only alt art in the game that I have willingly spent money on is Metal Edamon from EX5, I think it was. The one where he's like clotheslining in like the ring.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy.
Yeah, I think it's Pile Volcanomon.
Something
like
Volcamon. Yeah. I don't know his English name at all. So
yeah, Pile Volcanomon.
But yeah, that's the only one I've ever. Yeah, that's the only one I've ever wanted an alt art for, that I've willingly searched for and gotten all the 4 full copies of. I'm a big fan of Edamon, and so yeah, I think you mentioned before, Vanney, like you like yellow because you could wait the game out long enough to actually win, but then you found yourself having a really hard time to actually close the game. I felt the same way with Edamon. I could almost deck out a player, but like I was like, I can't actually take out your security. So yeah, had the same experience.
Yeah, it's tough out here playing these yellow cards.
You won't catch me playing yellow nowadays, so I'll tell you that.
Dan talked me off a cliff. I was about to go sell all my yellow stuff, and he was like, "You're gonna want to play it in EX6," and I was like, "You know what? That's fair. I do like angels."
Friend. I want you to know that right now. You're a good friend until he picks up vaccine armor. Then you're an awful friend, bro.
I watched your video on it, and I was like, "Yeah." I was trying to tell Dan. I was like, "I think vaccine armor is a problem." I'm not saying Patamon should be hit, but I can understand it. I think
he should.
All right,
it's tough because it's like
we're going to that topic. We're going to that topic. East, what do you think needs to get hit?
3 cards. Patamon needs to go to 1. Emissary of Hope needs to go to 1, and Ukamon from BT16 must go to 1. The only reason that Ancient
okay.
Garurumon is so quick and so powerful is because of cards like Ugumon, because the hybrid cards don't need to focus on any level 3s or almost no level 3s at all. And so they just pad out the deck with cards that are more resource and value loans, what I would say, or like refunds. And so basically any deck can slot in Ugumon, and I think Numamon is a prime example. They only see more value and resource than any other level 3 they could play. And so the card is so generally good that there's no real reason to play much else. Like, I made a case for the Agumon deck that I was running. It's like, well, if I could just like pull something out, pull an Ugumon out, search, and then hatch another egg so I can immediately evolve into an Agumon to keep the tempo for next turn, then why would I want to run anything else? The card is very good, but maybe too good. The card is also like 800 yen for one copy, even considering it's just a rare. And that's about $8 US for anybody listening. Yeah. For as far as Patamon and Emissary of Hope are concerned, the hardest part of playing Vaccine Armor is you need to find whatever you do, because you kind of don't really care what memory costs are because you don't really follow them. For example, evolving from Patamon into Rapidmon in your raising, or not raising, but in your security, is essentially a 5 memory play for nothing. 4 for the vaccine, or for the Rapidmon, and then +1 because of the Patamon's effect. Even if they have like the Digimon Kaiser on board, you don't really care because at worst, like you're maybe going to 0, unless somehow they do lock you at like 1, and then you're like, it's still fine. You still keep your turn for the most part. So the hardest part of that deck is actually making sure whatever play you do end up doing, put your opponent at the least amount of memory possible for them to work with. The hardest part about playing that deck is making sure your opponent has the least amount of resources, no matter what your lines are. Because like once they drop Patamon into Rapidmon into either Rapidmon X, or if they go into an Ace into Magnamon X, it's a very difficult stack to take down. I was just thinking, I actually wrote notes about this for Dex Dorogoromon. There are some cards that allow you to de-digivolve 3 stages and then force your opponent to attack, and I think it's called Trident Arm, which is a fantastic card. De-digivolve is a great effect, especially against armor cards. But when the lowest level 3 for the deck is Patamon, they can evolve first. So even if you de-digivolve all the way down somehow, and then you force it to attack on the main phase, Patamon still evolves. Exactly, Dan. Yes, they go back into Rapidmon before they attack, and then they just armor purge again. So, that the deck doesn't really care much about memory, and I think that the idea of Emissary of Hope was cool, but they didn't think about the fact that being able to evolve from any of your security cards essentially just gives you a second hand.
Yep, it's the purple problem with Anubismon.
Yeah,
if it was HPD for green.
Yeah,
so probably arguably better.
I mean, like they mentioned, or what was it not mentioned, but if Emissary of Hope was you look at the top card of your security, and if you can evolve into it, then sure, then I think it would be a fair card.
That makes it 100% fair. I think that makes it a 100% fair card at that point.
Yeah, but the fact that
you can look at all
security,
5, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then like you're going to heal. You can recover off it if you have the TK Tamer, which you always will. The TK Tamer itself is essentially a 2-cost Tamer. For some reason, it refunds its own part of its own cost, where you have other Tamers like the, I think it's the either EX5 or the BT15 Matt that has a similar effect where he searches cards out from the top of the deck, but he doesn't recover. He only recovers memory when it's a Digimon effect, not his own effect. I don't know
it's
why.
Really dumb in my opinion.
I don't understand why the differentiation was made between those two cards. As far as like how the one will take memory from anything, and one will take memory only from Digimon.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was every time I look at like yellow and I think about like, oh wow, that's a vaccine. I'm like, oh, that's a vaccine.
It feels like.
That's more vaccine power.
Yellow has an issue, I feel like, when it comes to their decks, because they make yellow, like whatever the deck is, the main core, like really strong. So like back in the day, you had yellow hybrid. It was like any yellow deck was yellow hybrid deck. And then like I feel like now we got to a point with Yellow Vaccine where it was like it's basically Yellow Vaccine .deck. So like whatever you're gonna do in Yellow, you just throw in the first thing you're gonna do, throw Patamons, TK, and as many emissaries you possibly need.
Yeah.
And then maybe I guess now and then the aces, the Magna Andra Ace and sometimes Andra Wilmot. It's like that's your package basically for Yellow nowadays. It doesn't like there's no like distinction. I feel like because we have a friend that was talking about like, oh, I'm gonna make Goldramon. Goldramon X is a great card. It's a cool card. I was like, all right, how you building it? He was like, Patamon. Vaccine? So you build, I was like, so you're building Yellow Vaccine with a Goldramon top end. He was like,
hell yeah.
No, it's not just that. I was like, it's Yellow Vaccine still. You're still doing Yellow Vaccine shenanigans of Andromon and Magna Andra stuff. And I just feel like that's where Yellow always gets this weird way where it gets stuck in this way because it's the only way that could be good when a certain archetype of it comes out.
Let me tell you, I just tried putting together Lord Knight from my BT16 decks, and I was like,
I saw it was 4 Patamon in it. I was like, why is
cards?
This in this?
I was like, what cards do I want to play? Oh, cool. Yeah, we're playing Kotemon. Yeah, buddy, let's go. Then I was like, what else do I play? Oh,
Patamon.
Gladimon's a vaccine.
Nightmon's a vaccine.
Nightmon's are vaccine. Maybe I'll play Patamon.
Yeah, you will.
Maybe I'll play Salamon too. Maybe I'll play the TKs. Oh, I should play a Magna Angemon. Oh, we're just playing Yellow Vaccine with the Lord Knight top end.
Like, that's what Yellow feels like now.
Yeah, it was even worse because I was like, oh, nice. I'm playing the Rapid Mon. Oh, I could play Rapid X. Oh my goodness, I am what I sought out to destroy. I did not want to build vaccine armors, and now I'm playing vaccine armors at home because I'm playing Lord Knight with Rapid Mons and Rapid X and Valkyrie Mon Ace.
Everything returns to vaccine. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm with you, East. I don't necessarily the more time goes on, I mean, just digivolving. I think the biggest problem with Digimon is anything that skirts the memory system is an issue. We saw it with Alphamon. Fenry's an issue, and it's I mean, how big of a problem is new Takumi Kazuchi with its? I've seen like turn 2 OTK, but
yeah, it's possible. It's difficult to set up, and you have to get the right hand and the right cards off the top of the deck, but it's definitely possible. Takumi Kazuchi, I don't think is super problematic. It's a strong deck for sure, but I mean, it has kind of the same issue that most the other different Lugomon decks had in the past, which is while you're getting your pieces together, you're essentially not doing much. So your board is left wide open, 100%. And aggro decks will just like mow you down. I mean, that's one of the reasons where Ancient Garurumon is so strong, because they don't have to really worry about you putting up much of a fight. And then, of course, they're going to give you cards to hand, but you're probably dead by the time that you can like find all your pieces. You have to get everything in the right place. Got to get your stuff in the trash, got to get your stuff in your hand, and then you can finally have your turn. But in some cases, you just die.
That makes sense. So, like, that, whatever with Takumi Kazuchi and Fenry, but like Emissary, Digivolving for one. To anything. Luckily not Ruin mode, but any level 6 or lower. Patamon going into that Rapidmon for what should be 4, but is free.
Yeah,
it's just like
you get memory back.
Yeah, plus you get a memory refund. Anything along those lines, it just makes the game tougher because it's like, damn, you're really out here abusing the memory system. And that's one of my biggest issues with Vaccine as well. Because you could put them to 1 memory, and then all of a sudden they've got 5 memory.
Yeah, they don't really care. So
it's like, oh, am I playing against Alphamon? Nice.
I think a lot of folks in the West are really worried about Magnamon, but Magnamon.
They really are.
They're calling for the ban of Magnamon X. They really are.
They really are already.
I think he's only really enabled by the Yellow Vaccine cards to be busted. In his own deck, he is, again, strong, just because Magnamon can technically skip levels. But I think that getting over... So the first turn is, of course, I believe, kind of problematic, but Blue Magnamon doesn't have the same issues, or I guess the same ability to pop their own security more frequently than Yellow Vaccine does. You're basically focused on just like a blinding ray to like force out the activation of your own Magnamon, and even when you do that, you're killing yourself. So like there's a direct trade-off in that you are sacrificing your security for your monster on board. Whereas Vaccine Yellow, they pop a security off and they recover immediately. So like Magnamon, I think without the Vaccine engine is much less abusive.
I agree, yeah, 100%.
I'm very
also, I
interested
think it's just a fun archetype. Like I had this big, dumb, stupid monster that you can just punch him, of course, but you cannot destroy him with an effect.
Yeah. I like Magnamon, and so I'm interested to see like how that plays out. But I'm also interested to see what Magnamon does over here, because we aren't, and I would say the amount of yellow players that we have over here, not a lot. There's not a lot. Dan, you making that face? You know we're blue players. You know the majority of people over here.
There's a difference. There's a huge difference between EU players and us players.
Sure,
we are way more yellow. If yellow is great, there's a shit ton of yellow gray players. Magna X is going to be the top dog for most decks.
Imperial, BT8, BT7, Blue Hybrid.
Yellow Hybrid was still a thing. Yellow
Hybrid was big, but like everybody was on Blue Hybrid because it won more.
Lord Nightmon.
The one exception. And it was an aggro deck. And it was an aggro deck. And so was Yellow War Gray.
Great time, Lord Nightmon.
Yeah, Yellow War Gray was wild at that time.
I don't know.
Like, if yellow is good, yellow is always around and is always going to be a top tier deck if it's relevant.
Yellow Vaccine is good, and not everybody plays Yellow Vaccine.
Shine was dominant at one point.
Shine is a half yellow, half red deck.
Both versions.
We claim them.
Both versions.
I'm just saying, I think yellow isn't. I'm interested to see what everybody does, if everybody is going to be on this Yellow Vaccine cope. Not cope. Obviously, it's not cope, but like if they're going to be on the Yellow Vaccine engine from Magnamon, because generally, I mean, obviously, so EU, they're all blue over there. And then Latin America,
EU is crazy.
All
like
Shine Greymon.
Like we had like when BT13 popped, or 14, I think it was one of those where, I think it was their Nats, or I think it was right, where it was like a whole bunch of Mirage players that was like top, and then like over in like Latin, it was a whole bunch of Shine that was top. It was the most funniest differentiation of it. And then now this set comes around, we had a regional over in EU where it was 7 Mirage tops. It was like, Jesus, they love their Mirage over there so much.
Bouncing cards to hand is so nice.
Strong.
Yeah. So we'll see how it pans out. I'm very interested to see what the North American player base is going to do, because we haven't had yellow supremacy in like 2 years. They've been on everything else, so it's going to be interesting to see what we do. Anyways, we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to call it a day. East, do you have any parting words?
No, thanks for having me. I feel like I tell this to everybody, but if you ever have questions for me, or if anyone ever wants to contact me, feel free to just reach out to me, either Twitter, Discord, YouTube. I'm a pretty open guy, pretty approachable. Again, I might not reply the fastest, but I will get back to you, I promise.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's here, right? So
also, if you like Digimon, please continue playing the game and supporting it. It's a fun game, and I will probably support it until it's not fun. So yeah, foreseeably a long time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hopefully.
I'm playing during
my parting word.
So yeah.
You played during APOC.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough days.
APOC Anubis Melga.
I've got gray hairs because of APOC. Actually,
out here fighting the wars. My parting words: always play what you like, and also just play what you like. Also read Liberators, because we got to show Bandai that we like the webcomic and we want an anime. You're not going to get an anime if you don't at least try to support the webcomic. It's a lot more consumable. So be on the lookout for video on the channel that might be talking about Liberators. and then you guys can kind of get the juices flowing for it. Anyways, that's it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Catch y'all in the next one.